God is saying something to you right now, and I need you to understand that this is not a normal message. This is not another motivational video you will forget in 5 minutes. This is a warning. Not a threat, but a warning, the kind a loving father gives before it is too late, the kind a father gives only to the children he refuses to let walk blindly into disaster. If you were about to skip this video, something stopped your hand. That is not an accident. Before you go any further, I want you to do something simple. If you feel even just slightly that this word is landing on you, like this video right now, subscribe, share it with someone who needs to hear a warning before it's too late, and write 888 in the comments to declare that you received this word in faith. Now listen, because what I am about to tell you may be the most important 7 minutes you spend today. There is a difference between a whisper and a warning. God whispers first. He whispers through a quiet thought, through a strange coincidence, through a verse that seems to jump off the page, through a peace or an unease you cannot explain. Most people miss the whisper. They are too busy, too distracted, too comfortable to notice something so soft. But when the whisper goes unanswered long enough, it does not disappear. It grows. It becomes a nudge, then a disruption, then eventually a warning. And a warning is serious, because a warning means time is running out on a particular door. Not on God's love, which never runs out, but on a specific opportunity, a specific window, a specific invitation that will not stay open forever in the exact shape it is in right now. Understand this. God is patient beyond anything we can measure. But patience is not the same as passivity. Patience is active. Patience is a father standing at the edge of a cliff, calling his child's name over and over, watching the child walk closer and closer to the edge while distracted by something shiny in their hands. Patience does not mean God stays silent forever. At some point, the voice grows louder, more urgent, more direct. Not because God has changed, but because the danger has grown, and love that stays quiet in the face of real danger is not love at all. Most people ignore this truth. Warnings in Scripture were never given to destroy people. They were given to save them. Every single warning in the Bible was an act of mercy wrapped in urgency. And if you feel today like something inside you is being shaken, like a warning is pressing against your chest, understand that this pressure is not God turning against you. It is God fighting for you, one final time, before a door quietly closes. Think about Noah. For over 100 years, Noah built an ark on dry land while the world around him mocked him, while people lived exactly as they always had, marrying, eating, building, completely unaware that judgment was approaching. God did not send the flood without warning. He sent Noah, a walking, breathing, hammering, building warning, for over a century. And still, when the day came, when the door of the ark finally closed, only 8 people were inside. Not because God did not warn enough. He warned for generations. But because most people convinced themselves that tomorrow would look exactly like today, right up until the rain started falling and it was too late to change their mind. Listen carefully. The door of the ark did not close suddenly. It closed after the longest warning in human history. And once it closed, it did not reopen for anyone, no matter how hard they knocked. Think about Lot's wife. When judgment came to Sodom, angels physically grabbed Lot's family by the hand and pulled them out of the city, because Lot was hesitating even with destruction seconds away. The instruction was clear and simple: do not look back. Just walk forward, and do not turn around. And in one of the most sobering verses in all of Scripture, Lot's wife looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. Not because looking back is always fatal, but because looking back in that exact moment meant her heart was still tied to what God was trying to save her from. She was warned. She was rescued. She was given a clear, direct instruction. And still, something inside her could not let go of what she was leaving behind. If you feel today that God is asking you to stop looking back at something, a relationship, a habit, a way of thinking, a version of your life that is quietly destroying you, this is your moment to keep walking forward without turning around. Think about Jonah. God gave him one job: go to Nineveh and warn them. Jonah ran the opposite direction instead, boarded a ship, and ended up in the middle of a storm so violent that even hardened sailors were terrified. He was thrown into the sea and swallowed by a great fish, spending 3 days in the darkness of its belly before finally surrendering and going where God had called him in the first place. When he finally delivered the warning to Nineveh, an entire city, from the king down to the animals, repented, and the judgment that was coming was averted. One warning, delivered obediently, saved an entire city from destruction. But notice something extraordinary here. Jonah tried to run from delivering a warning, and God pursued him through a storm and 3 days of darkness just to get him back on track. If God pursued a reluctant prophet that intensely just to save a wicked city, how much more is he pursuing you right now, with this very warning, because he refuses to let you go without a fight? Think about Pharaoh. Moses did not warn Pharaoh once. He warned him again and again and again through plague after plague, each one escalating, each one a mercy disguised as judgment, each one an opportunity to let go of what was destroying an entire nation. And each time, Pharaoh's heart grew harder, not softer. This is one of the most chilling patterns in all of Scripture. Warnings that are repeatedly ignored do not leave a person unchanged. They either soften a heart toward surrender, or they harden it toward destruction. There is no neutral option. Every warning you receive either draws you closer to God or pushes you further away, because indifference itself is a response. If you have felt yourself growing colder, more numb, more resistant to spiritual things lately, this is not a small thing. This is the exact pattern Pharaoh lived out, and it is worth taking seriously before that hardening becomes permanent. Think about Belshazzar. In the middle of a great feast, celebrating, drinking from sacred vessels that had been stolen from the temple of God, a hand suddenly appeared and began writing on the wall of the palace, in front of everyone. No one could interpret the words except Daniel, who explained that Belshazzar had been weighed on the scales and found wanting, and that his kingdom was about to be taken from him. That same night, the warning came true. What strikes me most about this story is the timing. The warning did not come during a quiet, reflective moment. It came in the middle of celebration, in the middle of comfort, in the middle of exactly the kind of moment when people are least likely to expect anything to interrupt them. Sometimes God's final warning does not come when life is falling apart. It comes when life looks fine on the surface, when everything seems under control, precisely because that false sense of security is the most dangerous place to be. Think about Esau. Hungry after a long day, he came home and found his brother Jacob cooking a meal. In a moment of impatience, he traded his entire birthright, his inheritance, his future authority as the firstborn, for a single bowl of stew. Later, when he wanted that blessing back, when he wept and pleaded for it, Scripture says he could not find a way to change what had happened, even though he sought it with tears. This is one of the most sobering warnings in the entire Bible, not about a dramatic flood or a burning city, but about a small quiet decision made in a moment of impatience, a decision that could not be undone no matter how much regret followed it. Some doors, once closed, stay closed, not because God stops loving us, but because certain choices carry consequences that outlast the moment we made them. Think about the 10 virgins in the parable Jesus told. 10 young women were waiting for a bridegroom, all of them carrying lamps, but only 5 had brought enough oil to last if he was delayed. When he arrived later than expected, the 5 without enough oil had to leave to buy more, and by the time they returned, the door was shut, and even though they knocked and called out, the answer they received was, "I do not know you." This parable is not about people who never believed. It is about people who were prepared for a little while, but not prepared enough, not watchful enough, when the moment actually came. Jesus told this story to make one point unmistakably clear: watch, because you do not know the day or the hour. This is not meant to create panic. It is meant to create urgency, the kind of urgency that keeps your lamp filled today, not tomorrow, not next week, not when it feels more convenient. Think about Peter, warned directly by Jesus himself that he would deny him 3 times before the rooster crowed. Peter insisted this could never happen, that he was ready to die alongside Jesus if necessary. And yet, hours later, under pressure, fear got the better of him, and he denied even knowing Jesus, not once, but 3 separate times. When the rooster crowed, Scripture says Jesus turned and looked directly at Peter, and Peter went out and wept bitterly. That look was not a look of condemnation. It was a look that said, "I told you, and I am still here, and this is not the end of your story." Peter's failure, as painful and public as it was, did not disqualify him from the destiny God had for him. After the resurrection, Jesus restored Peter personally, and Peter became one of the most powerful voices in the early church. A warning ignored does not always mean permanent destruction. Sometimes it means a painful lesson that becomes the foundation of a far greater calling, if you allow it to humble you instead of destroy you. Now, understand this clearly. Every one of these warnings shares something in common. They were never random. They were never cruel. They were always, without exception, acts of mercy given before the point of no return. Noah's century of warning. Lot's angels pulling him by the hand. Jonah's storm and 3 days of darkness. Pharaoh's escalating plagues. The handwriting on Belshazzar's wall. Esau's tears over a birthright he could not reclaim. The parable of the oil and the shut door. Peter's look from Jesus after the rooster crowed. Each one was God saying in a different way through a different circumstance to a different person, I see what is coming, and I am trying to save you from it, but you must respond while there is still time. So if you feel today like something inside you is trembling, like there is an urgency you cannot quite explain, like this message has followed you into a moment you did not expect, understand that this is not a coincidence. This is not manipulation. This is not fear for the sake of fear. This is love, urgent love, the kind of love that refuses to stay quiet while someone it cares about is drifting toward danger without realizing it. What does this mean practically for you, right now, today? It means the season of pretending you have unlimited time is over. Not because God is running out of patience with your existence, but because certain doors, certain opportunities, certain windows of grace are tied to specific moments, and those moments do not wait indefinitely. It means the small compromises you have been making, the habits you have been excusing, the relationships you know are pulling you away from who you were created to be. These are not neutral. They are either drawing you closer to the door of the ark, or further away from it, while the rain gathers on the horizon. It means examining honestly whether you have become like Pharaoh, hearing warning after warning, and instead of softening, growing colder, more defensive, more resistant. It means asking yourself if you are like Lot's wife, walking forward physically while your heart keeps turning back toward what is being taken from you for your own protection. It means checking whether your lamp actually has enough oil, not the oil of a distant memory of when you used to pray, used to worship, used to seek God consistently, but oil you are filling today in this present season, because the bridegroom in that parable came at an hour nobody expected. It also means understanding with tremendous relief that warnings exist precisely because it is not yet too late. Nobody warns a ship that has already sunk. Nobody warns a city that has already fallen. A warning, by its very nature, is proof that there is still time to change course. The fact that you are hearing this now, at this exact moment, is proof that the door has not yet shut. Esau wept because the door was already closed. You are not there. Peter denied Jesus, but the door was not closed for him either, because Jesus turned and looked at him with a love that led straight to restoration. This is your moment to respond differently than so many before you. Not with panic, not with despair, but with immediate, honest, wholehearted turning. Turning does not require a perfect prayer or a perfect plan. It requires honesty. It requires saying right now wherever you are, whether out loud or in the silence of your own heart, God, I hear this. I do not want to be someone who heard the warning and kept walking in the same direction. I am turning around now imperfectly, but sincerely, and I am asking you to meet me exactly where I am. If something inside you just responded to that, even quietly, even hesitantly, that response matters more than you know. Noah did not need to be a perfect man to build the ark, only obedient. Jonah did not need to want the assignment, only to eventually surrender to it. Peter did not need to be flawless to become a pillar of the early church, only willing to let his failure lead him back to Jesus instead of away from him. You do not need to have everything figured out today. You need only to stop running, stop looking back, stop convincing yourself that tomorrow will feel exactly like today. This warning is not meant to leave you afraid. It is meant to leave you awake. There is a profound difference between fear, which paralyzes, and holy urgency, which moves you forward into the exact response your soul has been needing to make for a long time. God is not standing over you with judgment in his eyes. He is standing at the door of your heart, the way he has been described standing at every door throughout Scripture, patient, but urgent, loving, but honest, gentle, but unwilling to let you walk past this moment without at least being given the chance to turn around. So before you close this video, before you scroll to the next thing, before life pulls you back into its noise and its distractions, I want you to sit for just one more moment with this truth. You are not skipping this video by accident. You are not scrolling past this exact message by accident. Something inside you needed to hear a warning today, not to be crushed by it, but to be awakened by it in time, while the door is still open, while the rain has not yet started falling, while there is still an opportunity to fill your lamp before the bridegroom arrives. If this message has touched something real inside you, do not let this moment pass in silence. Like this video now, subscribe so this kind of message can reach you again when you need it, share it with someone you know is walking dangerously close to an edge they cannot yet see, and write 888 in the comments as your own declaration, your own quiet but powerful yes, that you heard this warning today and you chose to respond rather than to keep walking past it. The door has not shut. The rain has not started falling. The lamp can still be filled. The heart that has grown cold can still soften. This is not the end of your story. This is the moment your story turns, if you are willing to let it.